All right, peace and blessings, and welcome to another episode of the Author Spotlight Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. I am your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days, and your LinkedIn locksmith. I have the distinguished pleasure of having yet another one of my Alpha Phi Alpha brothers, Dr. Stephen Carter, here in the building with me. So excited. He and I connected through our fraternal channels. And he is someone that I think you will find pleasure in getting to know. Brother Carter, how are you doing today, sir?
Brother, I'm doing well. I am blessed, and I'm just glad to be amongst good company.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So here on the Author Spotlight, we love to hear the backstory of authors. We love to hear what got them started, their background, about their book. But before we do that, tell us, where are you from, and tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit about your backstory.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm originally born and raised in a little small podunk country town, man, with one stoplight, and one red light. You all probably never even heard of it. A little small town, tiny city called Atlanta, Georgia. So hopefully people have heard of it. That's what I hope. But I hail from Atlanta, Georgia. I went to a performing arts school. I was in the performing arts. I joined the military immediately upon graduation. That was my calling for whatever reason. I joined the military. I did 24 years. I've served in every war since 90. I earned the Bronze Star medal during the, I can't remember if it was Enduring Freedom or Iraqi Freedom. All the deployments, they become a blur after a while. After which time I did 24 years in the military. I matriculated my entire term of service. So I was pretty much in school for about 24 years as well. So I managed to go from associates to doctorate with no debt, which I'm more than willing to share the secret to success on that as well. After which time I just continued to matriculate in the professional arena, where I found it uniquely challenging in the professional arena. And then one of my colleagues, he recommended that with my skill sets and my leadership attributes, that I should carry that over into the executive arena. So I went to Harvard after that. I spent time at the Harvard Kennedy School, where I earned an executive certification in public policy and also executive certification in public leadership. After which time I went to Harvard Business School, where I earned executive certification in management excellence. My doctorate is in business. I've been in the consulting practice for about 20 years. I've had several different businesses. I consulted businesses and professionals for about that length of time with some degree of success, or at least I like to say, at least the client says that. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much in a nutshell about me, but I will share with you later in the podcast where people can find out more information about me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely make sure you're able to do that plug, brother. Excited to know that you served our country. Thank you so much for your service. We are excited about opportunities to hear, like I said, the backstories of authors and their ability to share. So tell us a little bit about what got you interested in becoming an author.
Well, what really got me interested was as a business person, I'm always looking for the gap, the gap in the market, the gap in the environment, the gap amongst the landscape. And what I discovered is there is a significant knowledge gap. I see this along societal lines. I see this along cultural lines. I see this along professional lines. Because even growing up in Atlanta, we see on the north side, there are certain billboards that cater to certain communities. Mm-hmm. On the south side, we saw much different billboards that catered to a specific community, but they were not the same billboards.
Right. So
how do we address the knowledge gap on the south side? There's not necessarily a problem on the north side.
Right.
And the best way to get that out is through books, because a book is something that you can keep. And my particular book is a book that's going to mean different things to you at different stages in your life and your career, because it's written in such a way that there are layers and layers and layers of meaning and so much to be unpacked. Of course, there's the surface information, but there are layers and layers of unpacking in this book that are going to mean different things to you, of course, at different stages in your life and in your career.
No, I love it. So tell us, what's the name of your book, and what is the premise of it, and tell us, who is it for?
The name of the book is On the Way: The Journey to Personal and Professional Success. Tools, Tips, and Techniques. What we have found, or what I found in the business world, and what we really, from a researcher's perspective, what we discovered even from the previous administration, is that people are not necessarily impressed by what you wear or what school you went to. I mean, I think people think that's cool to a certain degree, but what they want to know is, how can you help me? How can you tell me something at your level and synthesize it where I am, so that I can not only digest and process that information, but turn it into something actionable? And that's what is important. So that was the impetus for writing the book. Now, when we talk about who it's for, this book covers a broad swath of people, to include entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, because trust me, if you're already established, you've already proven you've received your help.
Yeah.
But there are many coming behind you that either don't know, don't understand, or are not familiar. And they need to have something that's going to talk plain language, plain English, so that they can understand. And I recommend anyone just read the book reviews from people who have already read the book, from CEOs to students, to people who don't even understand business, but are interested in business and just want to be able to understand and know what you're talking about. So we're talking about educators. We're talking about people who are just interested in transitioning from one position or one stage or one place in their life and career to another. But in this book, I also do something that not many other authors do. I not only help you get there, but then talk about what to do once you're there. No one talks to you about, okay, now once you've achieved this, then what?
Right.
So I cover that as well.
So before we talked a little bit about a young man who came into your office and, shared some insight with you. He was very proud of an accomplishment. Can you talk a little bit about that? Can you go into that a little bit in detail?
Yes. Actually, he's a fraternity brothers of ours as well. He came down to my office just today. So this is very recent. This is like a couple of hours old. And he said, "Hey, I hope you're not busy." I said, "Brother, I always have time for it." So I stopped doing what I was doing, got off the computer, turned around, turned to face him in his direction, which is a technique I talk about in the book as well. Actively listen. He said, "I want to share with you that I just got picked up for an internship, and which is going to ultimately turn into a full-time job in Rome, working at the NATO Defense School." And he was just so proud. He said, "You're one of the first people I told about this." He said, "I'm so excited about this opportunity because this is changing my life." And he said, "And I wanted to share it with you because you're someone I hold in high regard." He said, "You always give me sound professional advice." Now, when we talk about professional advice, this could be business or it could be personal. Right. And I think that's the thing that we have to teach young people and even reinforce and remind mid-career professionals. The things you do at work are broadly applicable to your daily life. So let's not compartmentalize work in such a way that we only see it as work. There are some key data points that we can draw from tools and techniques that we're using at work, and I use many of these in the book. For example, my expertise in business is strategy and innovation. But you ask, why did you choose this? Because that's what every business needs to survive. Right. Let's look at it this way. There's two approaches you can take in life. You can take the blockbuster approach, or you could take the Netflix approach.
Mm-hmm.
We all know where Blockbuster Video is right now.
Right.
And we all know where Netflix is right now. Matter of fact, Netflix just went up on their prices, but they can afford to do that because they own the market share.
Right.
But they did this through strategy. So in this book, I not only tell you what you need to do, but I also show you how to do it and even provide checklists in the book so that you can monitor your progress.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Brother Carter. What was the biggest challenge for you in putting your book together? What did you have to overcome to get to the point of becoming a published author?
Well, you know what, brother? I'm glad you asked that question. The same challenge that I had is the same challenge that every person listening to this has, ourselves. We are the biggest challenge. First, believing that you can do it. What I will tell you is, if the guy next to you is doing it, you can do it too. If somebody opens a store in your neighborhood, you can do it too. So first, that's the first step, saying that you can. Number two, listening to other people, understanding what the real gap is, understanding what the real pain point is, understanding what are people's pain points, and writing down their pain points. If you need help, trust me, there is a well of assistance and resources to help you collect your thoughts into, I would say, compile them in a comprehensive and understandable way. We have resources for that. That is not the problem. I would tell you, first and foremost, whatever you're thinking, write it down. Write it down. Don't worry about how it sounds at first. Write it down. We have people to help you put it into a cogent and comprehensible format. But first and foremost, say what you have to say. It's just like for an artist or a songwriter. They start with just notes on a page. If you've ever heard Prince's original album, I think there's an album he has out that has all Prince's originals before they became big songs. If you heard Little Red Corvette before he released it, man, it sounded horrible. It did. It sounded horrible. It was okay. But if you listen to it on the album 1999, you're like, man, this is a classic. Yeah. But it didn't start out that way. Right. And everyone has to understand there is a process. Allow yourself the opportunity to go through the process. Mistakes are part of the process. Failure is part of the process. Yeah. All this is part of the process. And I promise you, if you stick with it, you will get there. And I'll end with this. I didn't start writing this book in 22. I didn't start writing in 21. I didn't start writing this book in 2020. I started writing this book around 2016. So it was not released until December 29th, 2021. Don't put an artificial timeline on yourself. Allow yourself to live, learn, and grow and learn from others. Yeah, that's true words of wisdom. And I think what's important, because our listeners are authors, aspiring authors, is to understand that number one, it is a process. And number two, the timeline, there's no common timeline. You know, even though we say self-publish in 30 days, you know, that's for people that have an aggressive time frame. That's for people that are like, listen, I need to get this thing done now, but they have to realize they got to have a manuscript first, right? But yes, understanding and respecting the process. Like you focus on being the author. Don't focus on being the editor and the publisher. Be the author. Put that information out, and then find someone who can then take that content, massage it, chop it up, write it up, whatever, to chew it up and give it back to you for you to fix it up, and then give it back to go through the rest of the process. So I applaud you for sharing. Once again, who is this book for, and how can people get their hands on a copy? That's a great question. This book, I will tell you, and not to be a generalist, this book is for everybody. Very general. And I'll tell you why it's for everybody. Because everyone has aspirations. Everyone has ambitions. Everyone has goals. But what everyone does not have is a compass or a roadmap. That's what they don't have, because life is very ambiguous. Life is very complex. You need to start somewhere. This book shows you how to start, where to start. Now, if we get into more refined communities, I will tell you there is an underserved minority community, or communities rather, that do not have this information. And I want you to consider this. There are people that you know that have a job and are working right now that are asking 3 questions. Why didn't I get that job? Why didn't I get promoted? Or why am I not being afforded these opportunities like everyone else? So the inherent challenge is to figure out what it is you're doing wrong. I address this in this book because there are things that are happening in your environment that people are not going to tell you.
Right.
The people that know, or people within a certain community, will share information with each other, but they will not share it with you. For any one of a number of reasons. Either they perceive you as a threat, either they perceive you as their competitor, or they just don't like you. Right. It doesn't matter. The reasons vary. So I break down how to understand the environment, how to give yourself a competitive edge. I have an entire chapter on understanding what are your competencies, how to build your competencies to give yourself a competitive edge, because otherwise people just will not tell you.
Yeah.
And always be careful of the person that is below you telling you how to move up through the ranks.
Wow, that's powerful.
You know, and I say that because, you know, growing up, I had a good number of female friends. You know, just like everybody else, I had a number of female friends, and they would, everyone shares their life struggle with you, and I had to share one day with a really good friend of mine. I said, hey. I said, go through the process, see how this relationship is going to work out you have with your guy friend here. And I told her, you can't listen to someone that has nobody to give you advice about how to manage a relationship because you have somebody.
Yeah.
I said, because you're in 2 different places. You almost have to be walking on the same path together. To teach you how to navigate this path. You have to be on the same path together. We can't be on divergent paths and the same advice be true. You're on different paths. And so this book is about getting you on the path on your own terms, getting you on your path and helping you navigate your path. This book is not about helping you navigate my path or doing what I did.
Yeah.
I don't reference myself in this book one time or what I did or how I made it, because that may not be relevant to you. And secondly, who cares? You care. Each person cares about themselves. And so this book is catered toward you, how to help you get where you are going, giving you a compass, giving you a roadmap to determine your career on your terms.
Yeah, that's
your
good.
Life on your terms.
That's good. And so what's the best way for folks to get their hands on a copy of this book? Say, for example, they're intrigued by your message, they're inspired by it. What steps would they need to take to be able to get access to the book? How will they be able to connect with you, and how will they be able to get a copy of the book?
Great question. I actually have a couple of ways to connect. I actually have my QR code here as part of my backdrop. They can hold their phone up to it and it'll take them right to the source where they can get the book. So, but even if you're just listening and you can't see the QR code, or you can't see this great podcast, you can go to the website at otwthejourney.com, or you can go search for the book itself directly in Amazon Books. It is available in the Kindle edition. It's available in print and it's available in hardback. The audiobook will be ready for release on 1 May. And I would even like to offer this just to let everyone know how sincere I am and how confident I am that this book can help you. I'll tell you how to get the book for free. How about that? If you have a Kindle Unlimited account, you can download the book for free.
Wow.
So now I'm telling you how to get the book for free. That's how confident I am. And I can't tell you how many times I get stopped in the hallway at work, how many calls I get, how many messages I get, say, hey, can we talk about this one chapter, man? I'm going through this now. He said, man, can we talk about this? Absolutely. And I think that's what's important, because there's so much to unpack. There's the surface level, just the reading, but there's a deeper meaning to all of it. For people who are going through things, I think they'll see it. For people who are reading just for pure enjoyment, okay, got it. It's a book that shows you how to get where you're going. Got it. Yeah. Especially, like, think about it. If you have a graduating college student, whether it be your son, daughter, niece, nephew, man, it's hard to make it out there in the world. There's just things you don't know. You just don't know because you don't have that experience. I talk about that in the book.
Yeah, that's
walk
good.
in with some awareness. It's like when I joined the Army at 18 years old. People can tell you whatever they want to tell you, but it does not resonate with you until you experience it yourself.
Yes, sir.
So this book kind of helps give you that awareness before you go in, understand how to dress, how to conduct yourself. You know what? Even the type of attitude you need to take. Matter of fact, I'll give you a quick excerpt and to qualify that statement. Because I've been in the workforce for about not long, only 34 years. I've been in the workforce. Okay. And one thing I've always heard, and I've been guilty of it myself. Man, they're always trying to mess me over. Man, the boss, man, this guy, man, this lady, man, this boss, man. You know what? That is a perspective, and that is a view. However, let's turn that same perspective on its ear. Your boss has a boss. Have you ever thought about what they're going through? What they have to deal with their boss? Because remember, you don't deal with their boss, you only deal with them. The minute you start to look at it from their perspective and relieve their pain points, then the boss will relieve your pain points. Because remember, we're all human. We all have frustrations. We all have family things we're dealing with. We all have things external to the job that we may or may not bring to the job that impact us at the job. When we learn how to address other people's pain points, we relieve our own pain points.
Wow, that's powerful. And I value that insight, because it's true. You understand that, you want to be a blessing to others, because in being a blessing to others, they're gonna either be a blessing to you, or you're gonna unlock blessings from other people. It may not come directly from the person that you're a blessing to, but I love that strategy, especially if you're working for an organization. I often hear, if you can take the weight off of your leader's shoulders, it allows you to not only learn what it takes to be a leader, but it also puts you in a position to enhance your visibility and credibility. So this is great. As we begin to land the plane, Brother Carter, I want you to share one final message for those who are listening that they can resonate with, and then once again tell them how they can get in contact with you as we land the plane.
Okay, I would definitely like to leave everyone with this, because I think even though this is a work-related situation, it will resonate with people broadly. I walked into my boss's office one day. This was a couple of months ago. And I said, hey, is there anything I can take off your plate? Is there anything I can take from you to make your life that much easier? And he stopped And he looked up at me. He said, you know, no one's ever asked me that before.
Mm.
From that day forward, it completely changed the nature of the relationship. He looked at me differently.
Mm-hmm.
I was not just an employee. I was a valuable component of the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you are a child and you go to your parent, mom or dad, because I was raised in a single parent household.
Yeah.
Okay. Just imagine how different the relationship would have been if I'd have walked up to my mother and said, hey, mom, I know you working 2 jobs. I know you're tired. What can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
That would have completely changed the conversation and the landscape and the relationship. I missed that. Why? Because I was so focused on what I wanted,
Right.
on what I wanted to achieve, not realizing that by solving her pain points, I probably could have gotten everything I wanted. So as we land the plane, I want to leave that with people because that is broadly applicable. Ask those around you, hey, how can I help relieve your pain points? What can I do for you?
Yes. Yes, that's good. That's good. And how can they reach you again? And then I have one final curveball question for you before we land the plane. How can they reach you?
Absolutely. They can absolutely reach me through Instagram. I have some great content on Instagram, just those things that keep you going through the day. And that is at OTW, the journey _book. They can reach me through there. You can reach me through the Amazon book site, or they can reach me through the website at otwthejourney.com.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So one last question for you, and then we'll wrap up. Say, for example, when you're ready to write your next book, or you may be ready to, down the line, put out another project. If there was any place in the world that you could travel to, and let's say myself and my team at Self-Published in 30 Days, we were going to pay for it. Where would you travel? If you could go anywhere in the world to write your next book, where would you travel?
Brother, that is a fantastic question because you know what? Already had an answer. Didn't know you were going to ask that, but already had an answer. What the audience doesn't know is I did a lot of work on the African continent. I helped develop cyber strategy, Pan-African cyber strategy. I've been to many countries, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritania, Kenya, been all over the African continent. Mm-hmm. And what I will tell you is it is a phenomenal place, beautiful people, great food, mm-hmm. Great food. For people who didn't hear me, great food. Mm-hmm. And the people were amazing. So extremely intelligent and not anything like what I was told or what was conveyed to me growing up. Yeah. But actually working on the continent and seeing the brilliance of the people working with the different ministries of defense. I would love to go to Ghana to write. I would love to go to Senegal and write. I would love to go visit some of my great friends in the Seychelles. I met people in the Seychelles Navy. Great, tremendous people. But that's where I would like to go back to write my next book, if given the opportunity. Well, we have a chapter. We got a chapter and we got an alpha chapter in Ghana. So make sure you get you connected when you choose to go that way. But listen, Brother Carter, it has been a pleasure having you share here on the Authors Club and Authors space here. We want to thank you for investing in our listeners, and we want to thank you once again for listening. Because what we know is this: those who gain information can change their situation if you apply what you learn. Let me say that again. Those who gain information can change their situation if you apply what you learn. And so we are grateful, and just remember to be encouraged, be blessed, and most of all, be faithful over the gift that you've been given, because your gift will make room for you. We'll see you on the next episode. God bless. Peace.